Spring has sprung, and if you want to get out now and do some lawn care, it can save you time and money this summer. Pete Sawchuk, he's the Senior Program Leader for Consumer Reports. He's here to get our lawns ready for spring. Pete, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
So before we get started with the mowing and all that, how do we prepare our lawns for springtime?
Okay, you're real tempted to want to just get that fertilizer down so the grass gets green because it's really brown now. But here's what I'm going to suggest. Make an investment in your soil. Hold off on that fertilizer. You'll save some money. Here's what you need to do. You need to get a soil test, and you're probably going to have to put some lime down because of all the snow we have with the acid rain and everything in. But if you make that investment and get the pH, that's the acid level in the soil, you get that proper, the grass will grow better and you'll get more out of your fertilizer, so you have to fertilize less. So now's the time to make that investment.
Steve, talk to me about aerating your lawn. Is it something that you have to do? Should you do it? What do you recommend?
Well, you certainly don't have to do it. But if you have an older lawn and you have a lot of compacted soil and the grass isn't growing as well as you'd like, even when you put fertilizer down, then it certainly doesn't hurt to either rent or have somebody come in with an aerator. Those are spikes that actually cut little cores into the soil and they pop out. And then if you are going to fertilize or if you're going to put some lime down, do that after you aerate because it's all going to go into those little holes that have been pushed in the soil. The water's going to get in there. It's really good for the soil, but you really don't have to do it every year. Every few years is fine.
Now, Pete, we're in rainy season up here. You never know when it's going to start. But rain sensors are kind of a new tool. Do you recommend them to people?
Oh, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, in your area, as it is in our area, you put a new irrigation system in, it's going to be mandatory that you put a rain sensor on. We've all been there, right? You've driven down the block, it's pouring rain, and your neighbor's sprinkler system's going. And actually, where I live, we pay for water, so you're paying for water when you don't need it. So they have these rain sensors. They're fairly inexpensive, and they go on your water system. They go on the side of your house, and they sense when it's raining, and they shut the system off. You can get more sophisticated ones that actually are probes that go in the soil, and they'll sense when your soil dries out, and then, and only then, apply the water.
Pete, we live in New England. It's a cold place. Wintertime, things tend to seize up. So let's talk outdoor tools. When you bring them out for the summertime, how do you get them ready for spring?
Okay, you've got your lawnmower is the primary thing that you're interested in. And the first thing is, make sure the inside's cleaned out. Get the old fuel out of there. With this ethanol in the fuel, that's a problem. Get the old fuel out. You're going to put new gasoline in with stabilizer. Then the next thing to do is get the oil changed. Make sure the oil's up to the proper level. That's really important for engine life. A sharp blade is next. A sharp blade is really important. It puts less stress on the grass, and you're going to actually save fuel when you're doing that, gasoline. And then finally, spark plug. About every 3 years, change the spark plug.
Now, what about those string trimmers? I know my dad and I, whenever we get them out, we go through about 12 of those blades. How do we fix those?
Okay, string trimmers, here's what I learned. The string, that nylon string that's on them, it tends to age quickly, and it doesn't like cold weather. So if it's sitting in a cold area during the winter, it gets brittle, and that's why it breaks and breaks and breaks, and you get very frustrated with it. So the first thing you do is get fresh string. Go out, buy new string and wind new string, or buy a new spool of string and put it on. Here's the second trick with a string trimmer. String trimmers use a mix of oil and gas, and I know you don't like mixing the oil and gas. Most people don't. Well, now you can go to your home center and you can buy these cans of pre-mixed fuel. The good news is there's none of this ethanol that's creating some of the starting problems. So you'll need maybe one can for the season, maybe two. A little more expensive than gasoline, but well worth it. So buy this pre-mixed fuel at the home center and use that instead, and your string trimmer will start every time and it'll work well.
Hey, Pete, thanks so much for joining us today. I know it's tough when you're getting these things outside from wintertime, and it's sometimes a pain to fix them up, but it does mean that spring has sprung and warm weather's upon us.
And it's great to be prepared, so when you really need them, they're good to go.
Hey, thanks again, Pete. And for more information, you can head to our website, mymassappeal.com, later today.